Well, number one, this was about getting more kids to play the game. Now, I definitely think this is an easy exhibition format, no doubt, because it keeps the score close. The score keeps on moving, and from that standpoint, I think it's a very nice format. For me now, personally, I didn't have to adjust much mentally to the format. It feels like I've played it before in the past, even though I've never even come close to playing something like this. And I enjoyed it, Now, is there a future for it? I mean, we've tried the let thing. We've tried that in Challengers for 3 months as a test. Didn't go down that well with the guys because the nets are too different all around. I don't know how to explain. The no ad, we have it is within the doubles, so I've played that before. And then the tiebreaker, to me, we haven't spoken about it on court, but I thought that was actually most intense. We played tonight, and I feel like tiebreaker is over in a hurry when you got your first mini break. So I think that's the biggest change for me almost. And, then I like the best of 5 format to 4. I like the idea of that because every point's more important. And it's hard to get back from a break, so you feel like you go more often into 4 or 5 sets most likely, and it keeps it close. But I liked it overall. I think it's a good thing, but the idea really is to having more kids play the game. They already do it here in Australia, and we hope for this to maybe really kick it off now.
Debbie's playing for Embassy Grandstand. Can you think of any ways you'd like to tweak it? Just any thoughts on possible modifications?
Not really. I think within Exos you can try all sorts of things, and see if it sticks. The beauty of our game, to some extent, is not to know if you're going to be on court for 45 minutes or for 3 hours. I know sometimes that's hard for TV because in soccer or in other sports we know exactly how long you're going to be playing. You beat the clock and you're fine. In tennis, you got to run over the finish line. You got to get there by hitting a winner or pushing your opponent to not hang with you anymore. So I have no ideas. I'm out of ideas.
No, I don't have any. Obviously, we changed. There was a lot of changes for us tonight in terms of in a singles match. Backing up exactly what Roger said, though, it's about getting more people playing the game. And that's why it's obviously fantastic that Roger's been here tonight to do it in Australia as well, to launch this. And especially in Sydney, in one of the biggest cities in Australia, obviously. And, we need more players playing in Sydney. So it's not just the juniors, social tennis as well, and people talking about tennis, which is a big thing. And, at local clubs we can get this because, they can play, 2 sets of this faster format as well. And it doesn't take so much time out of their day. So I think that's the biggest positive with it.
You, as an Australian, you've seen what 2020 has done for cricket.
Yeah.
Could you see a future for this in tennis where it doesn't in any way replace Grand Slam running, but exists alongside?
Yeah, well, we just played in the IPTL as well, which is, a format that, obviously had a lot of different rule changes and was based on the 2020 of cricket. To try and pump up tennis in Australia, I think this is important, and obviously doing it with Roger and myself here leading into the Australian Open, and then Rafa doing it as well down in Melbourne in a couple of days. I think it's great for our game, and as I said, just to build momentum in Australia about our sport.
Roger, do you think maybe perhaps this style of format may be more advantageous for the big serving guys because they can bang down a few games really quickly and all of a sudden it's full games?
Maybe. I mean, possibly. I don't know what the stats are if the bigger server wins breakers more often. I think that probably is the stat that would be more important than actually just being able to hold serve, because also the big guys also have struggled more with breaking serve, but it's really the breakers that are over in a hurry, really.
Well, I think tonight as well, we didn't come down to it, but it's obviously interesting if you're playing a big server like a Karlovic or Isner, and it comes down to that last point and they're serving in that tie break where it's 4-all.
It's a slight advantage then for them.
Even though we get to choose the side, sometimes that doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference to the receiver against those big servers.
Maybe one serve might be the next extension of it, cutting 2 down to 1.
You could possibly. Obviously, there's been talk about that for a long time. One serve and a whole lot of different stuff. We have a lot of great things about our game, though, that you want to keep the tradition. But obviously, in this kind of format, you can tinker with little things such as that.
Roger, you spoke on the board about keeping the older guys in the game. Do you think something like this to keep the older guys playing longer is shorter matches, longevity? Do you think that would keep some guys in the game a little bit longer?
Well, I think we see it in the doubles a little bit. Was the no-ad scoring and the super breaker in the third. It seems like the doubles guys are staying, hanging around for longer. In singles, it's hard, I think it's also the motivation for the guys to do it time and time again, because there is so much more running going on. It's so much more physical that clearly it's an idea to cut it down a bit, like you do a fast format, and because then if you go into the match, you kind of know the maximum length of the match is probably going to be an hour 45, it seems like, and that mentally it's just a good thing to know. You don't have to pack 7 shirts. You might only have to pack 4 shirts. You only have to string a certain amount of rackets. Like it's a more controlled environment, it seems like, especially if it be brutal heat or very humid, and that could possibly keep guys in the game for a little bit longer. But I still believe in the future we'll see plenty of best of 5 set matches. That's at the end of the day, in those kind of matches or in tough best of 3 sets, 5 days in a row, you just got to be able to back those up time and time again if you want to play at the top. So I don't know if a change of format is just going to keep the guys in the game for longer.
What's your schedule from here, Roger?
Rest. I need to relax a little bit here, so I'm going to take a couple of days off probably, and then, or not probably, for sure, and then I'll get back on the practice courts probably on Thursday, and then I might take another day off before the tournament gets underway.
Okay, so you're going to stay up here, or are you going straight?
No, I'm going back to Melbourne to meet the family there.
How do you feel physically? You seem to have quite a busy off-season. You've obviously had a pretty demanding first week, 10 days of the year.
Yeah, the off-season didn't feel like an off-season, to be quite honest. I'm not saying that to joke around in any way. The guy only had 8 days off. I went back into practice. Went to India. It was like 1.5 days, 2 days. Went back to practice. Practice with Tanasi in Dubai. Went to Switzerland. Played the charity match there with Stan from my foundation on the 21st. Had Christmas at home, which was so nice, and then came back to Dubai, practiced there with Goffin, and then came here. So it was a bit of everything, a bit of exo, a bit of practice, a bit of relaxation, and then right away Brisbane. So basically my year end comes after the Australian Open, which I can't wait to come around, but I can wait for another 3 weeks. So we'll see how it goes.
Do you feel like that?
It feels exactly like that. Yeah, the year end to me it seems after the Australian Open. How well do I remember? Oh, the first one. Yeah, I do actually remember it quite vividly. I qualified in Toulouse in '98 and played Guillaume Rogue's first round. He came from Davis Cup in Israel, I remember, and he was totally tired. And then I came out and I played already great in qualifying, and I beat him 6-2, 6-2, and he looked so tired, and I totally took advantage of it. And then I ended up winning my second match against Richard Fromberg, I remember, in the second round, and almost had chances against Simmerink in the quarters. So that was a breakthrough tournament for me after having played Gstad, earlier in the year. And then a little later I played Agassi in Basel, my hometown. So it was a very interesting period of my career, because I was bouncing around between juniors and professionals. I think I played the US Open finals in the juniors again. I lost to an Albanian there as well in that spell. So I remember it very clearly. It was a great match, and wouldn't have guessed it would have been my first of the 1,000, but it's great. Yeah, I mean, like when I got to the hotel and they had this, I posted it, even the picture of the 1,000. I was like, it's a crazy number. It's just like so long, and it's so good. It looks so great, so grand, and everything. So now we're on to 2,000, right? No, thank you. Anyway, no, I must say, it feels very special. But and probably it's just a great time as well right now between Brisbane and the Australian Open, to get it over and done with, and it really, I think it gives me great motivation going into the Australian Open, I must say.
What is pull up today from
It's all right. Today clearly you feel like you want to enjoy it as much as you can. The whole format, the crowd, it was amazing doing it with Leighton, who I've had such great rivalry with over the years. And it's a friend now. I mean, I must say, we've seen each other for so long that doing something away from all the matches as such, is great. Something to promote tennis in this country that has seen so many great players come from. Can't even keep count anymore. We don't have something like this in Switzerland, so I can't even really relate to the whole thing, even though I'm very much aware of its history here in Australia, and Leighton's part of that. So for me to be a player in this format and in this evening has been very nice. But clearly I'm hurting, from the last 4 matches and the last week. And usually after finals and the 1,000 matches, you're like, that feels good, and then next day, bang, you got to come on court and play late, and it's not so easy. But that's why I'm really looking forward to rest now, and it's most important for me to recover now rather than actually practicing and trying to feel better, because the game's there, and I'm feeling really good right now.
Jimmy and Ivan, and just what it means to try and track them down. Do you share memories of those guys on the tour?
A little bit, not much to be honest, but like I said, it was never a goal of mine to reach 1,000. It feels very special now, and the last thing I'm going to do is trying to think of those guys, what they did, and I have to beat those guys, and I have to match it, and I have to pass them. That's totally beside the point. They did great things. They were unbelievable players, incredible longevity, and those are inspiring numbers, no doubt about it, but it's not a goal of mine.
Last question. Roger, you headed to Melbourne with perhaps a different feeling of confidence?
Last year, you mean, compared to?
Compared to the past.
Every year has been different, clearly, but usually I played great at the Australian Open. I think I've been doing 10 semis now in a row or something at the Australian Open, so I don't recall every single feeling I had the eve of the tournament, but usually I felt pretty good and confident going in, because I had always good finishes to the seasons very often. Last year was different just because I came off a tough 13, had a new racket, Stefan Edberg joined the team at the back and everything, and at the end actually I played much better than I thought I could and would, so I feel better going into the tournament this year, but that doesn't mean a thing. It all starts from scratch for all of the guys.
Can I get a quick one about the new format? Do you think it's value for money for the general public? I went out and got a beer and 2 sets and over, so what are your thoughts on that?
Should have gone for a beer. Should have stayed. I mean, I don't think it was that fast, to be honest. You know? I mean, how long did we play? For almost 1.5 hours. So that's I think the average tennis match is probably going to take you 1 hour 15. Maybe even 1 hour 10, depending on how quick you play in between points.
I do like 5-hour matches though.
You like them every single time?
Every time.
I like them too until I wake up the next day. No.
Ask a very quick one, like just about
Yeah.
final one about your preparations. Are you happy? Obviously first round loss up in Brisbane, relatively quick match here. Where to from you on to Adelaide? Are you generally happy with how things have gone so far?
Yeah, no, I spent a few days down in Melbourne hitting a Rod Laver Arena, so I was, it was obviously disappointing with Brisbane, but I'm actually happy with my ball striking, to tell you the truth. Brisbane was just awkward. It's only one word to describe it. And so, for me, I thought I played really well in the doubles in Brisbane as well with Gooch, and I would have liked to have got some more matches, but it was a good hit out tonight, and I'm really happy to be playing Thomas Burditch down in Adelaide. Obviously my hometown, and going back there and where it all started for me on Wednesday night. So I'm excited about that, and then get to Melbourne on Thursday, and that's where it all starts as well.